Welcome back to another episode, guys. I think we were at number 7 now. It's been a while in between drinks since the last episode has come out. But Brendan has moved into his office now in West End. It's good to sort of finally get to sit down and have a bit of a chat regarding conveyancing and things like that. Now, just before we begin, a bit of housekeeping, just a quick disclaimer that all the information that we sort of discussed today is just for entertainment purposes. Look, if you have any sort of questions, you're more than welcome to discuss it with Brendan if you're going through the property purchase or selling process. However, all the information today is just for informative purposes only. Seek professional advice within your own sort of network of people that you are dealing with. At the end of the day, Brendan is here to help as well. So let's begin. I've got obviously my brother here with us today as well, from Ray White Rochedale. And let's get started.
Sounds good. Well, Brendan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with where this all began. How did Bytherules come about, and where did you start?
So I've been in the property industry for 12 years now, and I've been in every facet, basically from started off in a law firm, then I worked for local government in council, and then I did conveyancing for a developer, and then I went back to a law firm, and then basically after all that I was like, I'm definitely passionate about helping people, and I love the process. And then Bytherules, the opportunity came up, and I'm like, I have to jump on board, and so I jumped on as the Brisbane franchise owner for Bytherules, and here I am today. So that was a couple of years ago.
So you've covered a fashion of sort of industries and different types of property.
Definitely. So I've seen the property process basically from every side, and I think it definitely helps when I talk to clients and it can explain things in different detail and can understand the other sides of the processes.
Perfect. So in regards to the property process in particular, when we're talking about solicitors, lawyer, and versus the difference between a conveyancer, what are the main differences?
So in Queensland, every law firm has to be under the supervision of a solicitor. Whereas down south, you do have the differences between solicitor and conveyancer, where you can have conveyancing firms that you don't necessarily need to be under a solicitor. But in Queensland, as I said, you just have to be under, all firms are under a solicitor. So even though we're called Bytherules Conveyancing, we still have solicitors that are supervising.
So it's essentially just regulating, rules and making sure everything's in line, sort of thing. And
basically the main differences though between like a general practice and maybe a conveyancing firm. In a general practice, the lawyers will probably be doing a different range of things. Whereas in conveyancing, obviously we focus on property purchases and sales and the legal process behind it.
Perfect. Nice.
So I guess the benefits of going with a conveyancer compared to a homeowner that says, I've got a family lawyer, it should be right. If they're going through the process. What are the benefits?
So obviously I'm a bit biased, but because we do this on a daily basis and we, this is all we do is purchasing and, selling, your general law firm, I'm not saying, they won't know what they're doing, but maybe they haven't seen as much in terms of different things that can happen. And with our experience, obviously, we've basically seen everything that can go wrong. And, so it just helps us with our clients and dealing with different situations.
More specialised in sort of the property sector.
That's right. And the other difference was also costs. So with your general practice, they might have because they don't do so much in volume, and they might need a solicitor to actually use a lot of their time and look after the file. Those costs are usually higher than your general conveyancing firm. But the way a lot of conveyancing firms work is that they're some of the people that might look after you might be a paralegal as such, and in terms of volume, they're probably looking after a lot of files. So what we try and do is we're trying to be in the middle in that sense, that we have the specialized service and that we can concentrate on the client, but also we try not to charge as much as a general or a family solicitor.
So
I like to say we're in that middle ground.
Perfect. I guess that sort of then brings into sort of your different types of costings that are involved.
Exactly.
Obviously, what we see is you get your fixed fee conveyances and then also your variable fees.
That's right.
So what's obviously your setup? And what's the differences in what you see?
Yeah. So the way we work is we have a fixed fee.
Yep.
So fixed fee for selling and buying. And the way I personally like to work is, with a lot of the buyers and obviously sellers, they want to know what they're paying up front.
Yes. Yep.
So we say, look, this is our fixed fee, and you know what you're going to get charged at the end.
No hidden costs.
Whereas a lot of the other, other firms, they do have they have a very low starting fee. But you got to really read the fine print. They send you, 6 pages of fine print. And everything from, let's say, if you need a settlement extension, if you have to use the trust account, every little thing, or if a solicitor needs to have a look at your case, if it gets too complicated, then they charge you by the hour, they charge you extra. So really read the fine print. That would be one big tip. And definitely try and talk to the actual person that will be looking after your file
directly.
Because I get a lot of calls from people that have said, I went with this firm previously because they were a lot cheaper. I talked to one person, then I got palmed off to someone else. And by the time they went through the process, they'd been with about 5 or 6 different people.
That's actually a really interesting point from experience. You always sort of pick up calls from buyers going, we were dealing with someone, then they went on holidays or something happened. And a completely new person, and they've lost, that bit of rapport or trust with that original. It is a big decision, big process, a lot of money down.
That's right.
And they want to make sure everything is done right throughout the same channels.
Exactly.
It's a good point to bring up in terms of that aspect as well.
Because buying and selling, you're only going to do it a handful of times in your life. So you want to make sure each time you do it, you do have that experience, and you're not stressed out. Our logo is stress-free. We try and make it easy.
Of course.
And so even from the quote, our clients will be talking to me. And then throughout the whole process, I'll be the person that answers the phone and that deals with.
And that's why I think I've had a lot of success referring clients to you, because they've come back with great feedback, because they speak to you initially to get an idea on what you're about and the quote and everything, and then right through the settlement, you're holding their hand, sort of guiding them through the whole process, so it doesn't go through anyone else. And if we have any questions during the process as well, we just call you directly.
Exactly.
Any time of the night sometimes as well, which I do apologise, but
no, that's all right.
It happens. We find you're always sort of available to make those.
And I think that's the key. Like I'm really about communication. I think through the process, you need to have good communication on all channels, not just from the agent or from the broker, but they all need to tie in together.
100%.
And that's where and that's where you've been great, George, because you're sort of in the middle between the buyer and the seller as well. And it's great to have that open communication that you can talk directly to the buyer or the seller, because sometimes when we go through other solicitor firms to get the instructions, it can take a while, and sometimes it gets lost in translation, and unfortunately some firms they do make it more difficult.
Most certainly.
But it's good to have you in the middle, that you can sort of facilitate that and keep the communication channels open.
I think having that complete open community on both sides, if both sides are easy to deal with and making things just go through smoothly. With previous instances, communication dropped off in a certain element, and then there was a time crunch. And this happened with previous sales of mine, last year, Biff as well. And then just to the very last minute, it could all fall over. Very tense situation. And it doesn't feel make the sellers or the buyers feel good at the end of the day.
That's exactly right. Like at the moment, we're seeing massive delays with finance. So there's been a lot of problems with people getting their finance on time, and they need extensions with finance as well. So it's just good to have that communication there. That and we can communicate directly to the agent and say, look, the buyers have everything looks good, but it's just the bank, it's being a bit slow, there's actually no problems there. Are you able to talk to the seller and get that extension? And then rather than if we just sent a letter to their solicitor and no communication, maybe their solicitor will receive it and then talk to the seller and go, oh look, it that doesn't look like they're doing anything. They're not even trying. Let's not give them the extension. And that can be, end the contract essentially. 100%. So it's
100%.
all about that communication.
Yeah, great.
Sure. Yeah. So that pretty much leads on to what I was going to ask next about what you're seeing in the market now anyway, like, because obviously
Definitely.
we're sort of still dealing with a bit of COVID, and you know, that has changed a lot of rules and regulations and the way people think.
Definitely.
And so what are you seeing from your end?
Yeah, at the moment we're seeing, just due to, you know, all the new government grants and everything, we're still seeing a lot of first home buyers,
of course,
you know, to try and take advantage of that, you know, building boost and everything. But with the, you know, your normal mum and dad sellers, we are seeing it to slow down a bit in terms of stock. The sellers are a bit hesitant at the moment in selling, but I think, you know, there's good opportunities out there, like even for the sellers, you know, that have been coming through. It always sounds like that they're looking, you know, they're buying as well. So it's definitely keeping that up a bit. But overall, it's a bit of a hesitant time, you could say. People aren't sure what's happening.
Everything's a little bit up in the air at the moment.
Well, I think we're that's pretty consistent with what we're seeing across our open homes and our conversations with sellers. Certainly, if you look at our suburbs that we're dealing with, the volume of stock has dropped dramatically for the last sort of eight or so months.
Are you still seeing good buy inquiry?
So the inquiry has actually gone up. You know, you look at all the major websites, realestate.com, domain.com, they give us the statistics, and they've all increased year on compared to the year on year previously. So it goes to show, look, the supply is low, but the demand is there. So you know, some of our sellers that are on the market are achieving pretty fantastic results because of it, and they're surprised as well. So it's not necessarily a bad time at all.
I still think I mean, by the sounds of a good opportunity. I've seen some other agents personally do really well throughout the months of July, even, you know, transacting a lot of property, and a lot of buyers going through their hands. So it's really good to see. But I think Brisbane always has that sort of space to continue to grow with so much exciting things. Even across the road from your office at a major, was that a village or something?
West Village.
West Village being developed. So
1,300 apartments over there.
I think over the next 5-10 years, with all these things, exciting things happen.
Definitely.
More is going to come over.
Exactly.
I mean, what sort of right now? Obviously, we are going through this time. Interesting. What could sort of have some advice you could give current buyers and sellers that are going through that maybe a little bit?
Just in terms of the legal process, for buyers, definitely, you know, make sure, at the moment, as I was saying, there is quite a few delays with, you know, finance extensions and everything. So it might be good from the outset to look at, you know, talk to your broker, figure out if there's going to be some problems or delays with the finance, and then that'll help in terms of the contract with the condition. Because you don't want to give the seller unrealistic expectations and say, look, I'm going to get finance in 14 days, and then, but next thing it takes 28 days. So you want to get those dates, you know, set right from the beginning. So it is good to get that proper advice. And then once you have that proper advice, then let us know, and we can make sure that, you know, that's set out in the contract. And then that we have the relevant time frames and just the general conditions as well. So for the buyers, definitely get a solicitor, get your conveyancer to look at the contract before you sign it. Because once you sign it, you know, there's no turning back. And if let's say if you've signed an unconditional contract or not subject to any conditions, and if you've accidentally waived the cooling off, then there's no turning back at all. So be very careful. For the sellers, same thing, you know, more than happy to have a look at the contract before you sign as well. Just for the same reason that you want to make sure, you know, that the conditions on there aren't going to lock you in. You know, I've had a situation where the seller signed a contract that had a subject to the buyer selling their property, but there was no open-ended date as to when they could sell the property, and the seller didn't have what we call a sunset clause on the contract that said, look, we're only going to give you 2 months to sell your property, and if you can't, then and there was nothing like that in the contract. So the seller was actually locked into the contract, waiting for the buyer to sell their property before they could go ahead, and you know, there was no way for them to get out. So it was one of those situations where, you know, if they came to us first, we could have definitely told them, look, it's better to put that sunset date in there, and then you're protected. So
those situations for sure. I know with some of your sales and sunset clauses,
definitely
in that seller position. It just goes to show you want to clarify every single detail, whether you are buyer, seller.
Yeah.
Because I mean, contracts are long.
Definitely.
There's a lot of information to essentially take in.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone's buying every day.
Exactly.
Usually years apart, and then things
That's
could
right.
change.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's just making sure communication between agents and the people, and also obviously then your lawyers and conveyancers,
Definitely.
all kept open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Great start. Yeah. Where can people find you?
Yeah. So we just, I'm sure Eddie will put up my details.
Yeah, we'll at the
Just
very end.
You contact me. Feel free to give me a call, and I'm more than happy to have a chat. You know, whether you're not buying for another 6 months or you're not thinking about selling for a while.
Yeah.
You know, it never hurts to pick up the phone and just have a chat about it.
Yeah.
And then that way you can get some good advice at this stage.
Yeah.
And then we can go from there.
And you know that you'll always be dealing with one person, and that'll be Brendan.
That's it.
Instead of sort of getting the case file thrown around in the office
Exactly.
potentially in a big office. But
Definitely.
before we wrap up, just quickly, where do you think you see the rest of 2020 and potentially going into the new year? Now we're so close because this year's just sort of flown by.
Yeah, I think it'll be a promising time to see what happens when the grants are all, if when they stop, like the building boost, and if JobKeeper, how that goes, because that can definitely impact, will impact the market.
Yep.
So at the moment, I think it's going to go a bit, probably steady. I wouldn't say it's going to sharply decline, but my feeling is it'll just keep going as it is currently.
Yeah.
And just that unknown waters at the moment.
Yeah. Are you still seeing interstate migration even with the closed borders?
Yeah. So at the moment we are seeing a lot of buyers from down south, and they're thinking, look, this situation's obviously hit us quite hard, and where's been a safe spot in Australia?
Safe haven,
Queensland's definitely been ticking that box.
Mm-hmm.
So we are seeing a lot of people from down south looking at inquiry up here.
Yeah.
And we have had a few contracts recently. And at the moment the borders are closed, so they can't even see the property, but they're still putting down offers and going to contracts. So.
Well, I have noticed increase in just looking through socials and posts of buyers agents actually increasing their activity, probably helping more of those clients that aren't able to see these properties on their behalf, to sort of make it all happen, which is good to see.
Oh, that's right.
Keeps the wheels in motion.
Yeah, a lot more off-market deals as well.
Yeah.
Given that obviously some sellers are hesitant, they might prefer an off-market sale. So
That's good.
More.
Awesome.
And just on that point, obviously with the interstate people as well, it's even more important for them to get in touch with a solicitor conveyancer up in Queensland. Yeah. Because obviously the rules are different.
Of course. Yeah.
We've had a buyer down there that just simple things like finance, like a finance condition date, things like that. Yeah. Down there they don't have those particular set dates.
Very different. Yeah.
So they didn't even know that they had a finance condition they had to satisfy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had to explain it to the broker as well, and so it was a bit of an interesting situation.
Another great point. Always, if you are buy up here, find a Queensland conveyancer.
Crazy how different it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks both gentlemen for your time today.
It's been a pleasure.
It's good to be back on camera, and hopefully we'll continue to bring you more information with Brendan as well, as well as other people in the property industry down the track as well. Once again, I hope you found some sort of valuable information to take away from today. As mentioned, always seek your own professional advice from your own conveyancers, agents, if need be. But Brendan's also here to help as well. So I'll fill in all the details, everyone's details here at the end of the video, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.